Thank you, Paul. Everyone hear me fine?
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. My first poem is called, This Poem Has No Direction. This poem has no ambition to educate you. It simply wants to express what there is to express. It makes little difference which road you take when you really have no direction. This poem once had a dream of being epic, but refused to rhyme or even suggest a hero that could come from the darkness of these alleys. Certainly when I started composing this poem, there was a place I wanted to get to, like a peaceful valley or a great epiphany, to show where sorrow or joy could drift unclouded and unmocked. This poem was too lazy to go there. Being tired of platitudes and attempted profundity, being tired of facing fresh torments, this poem wanted to avoid motion, to give no explanations, wanted to rest on a simple string of syntax. Next poem is called Straws. I was clutching for any available meaning to this constant faltering that never hits the floor. I reached for all the usual shelves, and book smart as I was, stood grasping nothing. This next poem is the opening poem to my book, Parkinson's and Other Denials. Welcome to the club. These shakes my hands make are called tremors, as if to forecast my own personal earthquake, a Ronquake, if you will. I still know how to make my way, although it's tougher to put on my shoes, and my steps seem slightly slower day by day. At least the doctor said he was leaning towards Parkinson's, not definite, although conclusions seem clear. And now I can be compared to Muhammad Ali. January 11th, 2026. There is weariness, a soreness which creeps deep down to the bones. Confidence shaken, who knows what tolls one carries. Talk lost in shadows. Despair, a suitcase that you carry everywhere. Beware when the light fades. Consolation gone. There was no prize or reward. Why miss it anyway? My huskies are right. One might as just well lay down in the snow and wait for what comes by, ready to howl at the sky. Internal, external conflict. And let me repeat that. Eternal, internal conflict. I take one step and then another, planning to walk at least a mile. But my brain suggests I take one step less, head back to bed, where I could rest. My heart is conflicted, as if in love. It feels my tired eyes, but knows what's on the line. Enjoying the snowstorm, something we won't have to do for a while, I hope. Glad to be in, I look out on the yard and watch my two huskies enjoying the storm. Clara lies in the blowing snow with a bone, content as a middle-aged man in a recliner. Valerie simply stands, looking in every direction for something to move, then suddenly rolls in the snow for a scent she wants to retain. They bark and cajole me out, as if to say, one must embrace what one is given, but I prefer to hide a cup of coffee in my hand. This is another poem about Parkinson's disease, which I'm lucky to have. Onward with the journey. The question was asked, What does alpha-synuclein have to do with me? I thought protein was good, but not all, I guess. Apparently it clumps. Still, I know a tree is a tree, and I can walk toward it, although somewhat slowly, to enjoy its shade. In a dream, field walking, I spied my off time, gazing down like sunshine. Sunshine happy to see I wasn't wearing a hat, nor sunscreen. Later, same dream, I walked arm in arm with my neurotransmitters, walking down Robert Frost's path, gloating how this battle would be won. I woke up the next morning, wondering who kicked the blankets off my bed, and why my hand felt as if it hit a wall. This poem I wrote quite a while ago. It's not in any of my books, but here it is. He with the most toys wins. Wins what? When we are dust, the only acknowledgement is silence. Will he be more windswept than us, the losers? Will Emperor Worm crawl through his eye bones, while our skull sockets are touched only by plebeian crawlers? What about the caring ones, the ones who don't think in terms of win or lose? Will they be on clouds playing Led Zeppelin on harps? In some games, it is the one with nothing left who wins. The next couple poems I read is from my first collection, Dog. Another Minnesota ending. I too could die on a day in November when the first heavy snowfall covers the goose poop on the sidewalk, and my dogs must be content to sniff pee rather than taste that delicacy. The trees offer no protection from the white clumps hitting my silent body, nor do they tell the dogs they are free to run past the drifts which border the park, to chase deer in the icy marsh. Hopefully they will be found. Perhaps I will be found, with Shiloh and Trinity nudging me with their noses, Becca wondering when we'll get a move on, or the dogs will return home a day later, while I am left under plowed snow piles, to be discovered in spring with bags of dog poop, and the start of new weeds embracing the neighborhood. Certainly not as poetic as some, but a different life brings a different death. Lacking beauty, no delicate flowers await me, just bits and pieces of last fall's decay, items thrown from teenage dirt-filled cars, disintegrating fast food wrappers, broken glass from first-time liquor joyrides, slow gin or peppermint snots. And this poem is about the first dog I owned, very close to the end of her life at that time. Last legs. So hard to watch Becca on her bad days. I arrive home from work to find her sprawled on the kitchen floor, unable to rise, feces behind her, not even trying to crawl, too tired it seems. I manage to get her outside on a tie-out and go clean up. After I finish, I go to retrieve her. She is moving stiffly. I give her a cup of water. A few steps and her nose lifts, and I wonder if it's squirrel she sniffs. Her eyes have will to live, yet some say it's time. To cut short or keep alive, which is the crime? Any final verdict is delayed by her good days. She stumbles forward on her last legs. This is another poem from my latest book, Parkinson's Another Denial. It's a poem that gave me the idea for the title. And it was, the idea for the poem came from the leader of Parkinson's support group that I have on Saturdays. Permission for denial. To be slightly in denial is okay. A person needs a nugget of confidence to keep on fighting through the day. Never mind all the things they say, those who fail to understand your stance. To be slightly in denial is okay. Some games you can no longer play, But that's no reason to quit the dance. Keep fighting through the day. Do what you can while you may. Don't be afraid to take a chance. To be slightly in denial is okay. There is no reason for dismay. Your mind must create a defense to keep on fighting through the day. A progression we work to delay as we hope to keep our independence. To be slightly in denial is okay. To keep on fighting through the day. In my final poem, A Cry Out for the World. Tear-stained eyes red, somewhere a chrysanthemum lies dead. The moon shadow deceives, somewhere another shooting makes the news. Should we be grateful that it's still news, despite all who grieve? Prayers rise in the air, like dust answered with, works in mysterious ways. Do we need to change our ways? I try to discard the sins I carry, the chains I forge. Good wishes are sent, like morning glories appearing on the railing. Someone praises the weeds growing through the cracks in the cement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you all for being here. It's a great pleasure to be part of Midstream series again, because it does have a history. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. This is my daughter. She wants to make sure that you hear me.
We can hear.
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, not that I can see what you can hear. Midstream actually began in a classroom at the loft when I started to find my own voice and took classes in poetry. And in one or two of my classes was David Shove, which was really kind of wonderful because we sort of had a friendship and a bonding, and he had this fabulous idea of, let's do something with emerging poets. Not all these published poets, but those who are emerging, like you and I. And so here we are with published poets and a wonderful series that everybody looks forward to every month of the year. I'm going to read poems from my recently published book, Convergence, and then I will do a couple of others from another one that I'm working on currently. To begin, I'm going to go here and just read a few notes of what I wrote down about what I meant about convergence. Convergence and restoring balance. To me, that's a blend of nature and culture. Convergence and restoring balance is the coming together of a wide range of feelings and desires, diverse interests in an effort to make something different. It is in ideas and concepts of many ecosystems and many socio-political systems which converge in these abstract works to demonstrate how unexpected elements can work together. It is the artist who investigates, just as a scientist in the laboratory, the essence of what is necessary to effect change, to imagine in ways not previously perceived how we view and interact with the elements is flawed. The beauty and power of requisite ingredients to affect and sustain life are taken for granted. My hope is that we may work together to effect transformation in behavior in our immediate world, It is through my or our creativity in the arts to ignite the imagination and stimulate reflection in the center to make a difference in the way we think, act, and feel that can affect this difference and inspire empathy and deeper understanding in the world. Okay. The next few poems that I will recite are from Convergence. Reflection in a Mist. I had a husband once, woven into my life with gold thread, but still I have the red, red roses, turned now to dust. Against all rules, fragrance emanates, intensifies Demeter's mythic powers, breathes life into lovers' wanting desires. Unshielded from the conspiracy of existence, blinded by Socrates and Aristotle, Shelley and Keats. At 19, I didn't know how to fear life's consequences. What will happen when he goes? I wondered, when the car takes him away. He pursued my innocence, my virginity, my nakedness, strength and vulnerability, and awakened me to being a woman. His hands came over my in-between, choosing seduction by force, kisses like arrows into my heart. Deep inside me, Proust, remembering days gone by. When I passed the curved mirror at Cervelloni in the hills of Milan to his cabin carved into the mountain, the chain that binds husband and wife whispers desire, pain, passion, blame, struggle, joy, and throughout all time, love. We dipped into a river of wine, danced to the spiral rhythm of life. The spiral rhythm of life. In time, trees turned golden brown, branches brittle and bent. The green glow of summer vanished until he doth the moment himself asleep. Bach cello suites lured him to eternal peace, leaving me in a circle of red, red roses. The next poem that I will read takes a little different turn. It's called Beyond the Allegheny Mountains. It's a homage to Rachel Carson. Sense of wonder, sense of shame, a place beyond the Alleghenies. Rachel dreamed of vast ocean of sea fossils, expanded into a universe of words. Tiny particles, droplets of water, like the clouds on earth explored. Up north in Maine, in a spruce woods, through a beam of light perceived, songbirds dying in poisoned grasses, shamefully invaded and deceived. Like Io and Callisto were seduced, called by Galileo white heifer and white bear, circling round treacherous Jupiter. Sense of wonder, sense of shame, how beloved lost woods, her silent spring. Transparent ghost crabs line the beach, face the roar of blue-green surf, sending cracks through smooth, icy surfaces of Jupiter's white moon, whose ice-blue plains of water promise barrels of luminous fish, a destination, a distant wilderness, a place unspoiled, warm and wet like earth, a place for monarchs beyond the Alleghenies. Listen, but you are all listening. Listen, at the edge of the woods, among dead leaves, buried in mud, the Mississippi River threads through marshland. At the foot of a white birch, rabbits linger. Blackbirds appear on branches and quickly vanish. A hint of mint green scent emerges as winter sinks below the earth reluctantly. Caught wandering. The smell of gardenia petals between my breasts arcs back to the horse-drawn carriage along the Seine and the calla lily that swan kissed. I begin to wonder and wander into different worlds, breathlessly toward the Trans-Siberian Express approaching in the distance. My dream wish to journey into the repressed cold terrain of the taiga forests, speed by dilapidated huts, heading toward Vladivostok. Beaded ice crystals caught in a web circling my breath, I continue into Chekhov country, anticipating the gentry at tea shaded by silver birches. Visions of their orchestra tuning to the violins, a maestro lifting his baton, flooding the space with music and modulating harmonies, ascending halftones, major chords shifting into minor moods, melodies, dark chocolate, chromatic, creamy fugato, warming winter white brittle branches, rhythmic, fiddling, daring light-hearted riffs, catches, me dancing in 3/4 time. Intoxicated by the music and the scent of gardenias, the ceaseless pattern of the train jostles me back, jostles me back to damp wind whistling across the plains, the drone of a wounded world, and the wish to be fully alive. Are you all still listening?
Oh, yes. Yes.
It would be better if I could see better, but this is okay.
Can you move that around?
Speculations on a theme. Would you love me in blue moonlight when day pretends to sleep? Could you love in bright sunlight when birdsong sweetens at our feet? Would you love me in morning dew when the bees begin to buzz? Could you love at lunch or cocktail hour when your boss invites you in? Would you have green moss on a willow tree, wind weeping at its roots? Interlude. Did you write your name in sand or on the back of love? Did you give a gift, an amulet, to the one you loved? A relic to behold, a reflection uncontrolled. Restrain the thrashing tyranny of ocean waves. Hold back the water from pregnant clouds and mother's womb, till wetlands scorch and die, and babies cannot cry. Would you, could you, love this world invaded by deeply feared disease, without a call to combat, sequestered in sheltered places? Open wide your heart and soul. Breathe into the rising dawn, laboring on this exploited biosphere. Would you, could you let go the elusive darkness opposing love's brilliant light? This not, the next couple won't be so epic. This is short and sweet. 1,000 stings. I waited for an answer. It was long in coming. I was spring, about to flower. You were summer, warm and mellow. I was caterpillar, chrysalis transforming. You were hornet, protective and aggressive. I, gardener of tiger lilies, planted. Hardy, sweet, and innocent. You, a wordsmith, hammered wisdom. Meditator, shrouded in solitude. We dreamed, let's fly away. Companions, hand in hand, stole 100 kisses, drew me, a woman in tears. I waited for an answer. It was long in coming. You caught a slow disease. It crept along your torso. It took my breath away. The night alone was colder. I waited for an answer. It was long in coming. Spring colors faded, summer turned to dust. The hornet stung 1,000 times. The butterfly departed. I can't go on because time is out. Okay. I only have three more poems, so you know what? This is actually good because you can buy a book and see what you're missing. But in time, I will just take a few more minutes, if I may, in anticipation of Valentine's Day. I wrote a piece called Love Affair. Art is a love affair of energy, a cosmos of rituals and curiosities, a moving target generating and regenerating attachments. Art is a love affair, inherently intimate and expressively public. It is a hungry scavenger in colorful veils, picking an apple in Eden. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Thank you for being here. It is dark, you're right. Damn.
A challenge.
Well, I have my handy dandy phone flashlight, so we're all good. So I brought, I'm mostly going to read from my most recent book, Unblossoming, and I thought that was gonna be the last book I ever wrote because, you know, it's hard. But I just started writing again recently. Oh, thank you, that helps a lot. That doesn't help.
Can we make it darker?
It wasn't on.
The battery's running.
The battery maybe, any whoosies, but this will help, it's perfect, thank you. So anyway, you know, all the shit that's going on has made me wanna write again, so I'm gonna start with a brand new poem called A Lesson Plan for the Apocalypse. Warm up. Start with a brief writing exercise. Did you do anything out of the ordinary this weekend? No. What do you see when you look out the window? No. Do you still look out the window? Provide time for students to process their feelings. Understand when no one wants to be the first one to talk. Understand when no one wants to talk. Understand when no one wants to stop talking. Review emergency numbers to call on and off campus in the event of the inevitable. Check to make sure classroom door is locked. Explain campus is open to the public and that will not change, despite our location less than a mile from the most recent murder. Remember your dean telling you it's not a matter of if, but when. Where were we? Writing poems on death and grief. What words do you think of when you hear the word grief? Whose name? Where do you feel it in your body? Write for 10 minutes without stopping. Share your work in groups. Note the absences. Lucinda is afraid to come to school. Aliana is afraid to come to school. Miriam is afraid to come to school. Abdul Rahim is afraid to come to school. Admit you are also afraid to come to school. But you are neither brown nor visibly queer, so you come to school. You have not been barricaded by men brandishing guns. You have not been pepper sprayed. Not a matter of if, but when. You tell your sister you're safe, so she doesn't worry. Where do you feel it in your body? Do you still feel your body? I chose this poem because of you and your dogs. This is called Rescue Dog. Did you ever get a rescue dog?
We had,
Yeah.
didn't work out.
It's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
having a rescue dog. This dog barely worked out for us. Like all of us, you come with the baggage of old relationships. The one who taught you not to accept being petted, to cower beneath the coffee table when it's time to go for a walk, to hate change. But somebody clearly loved you once. Someone who taught you to dance in circles for your supper, to fall to the ground and writhe on your back in the grass with the shiny pink sword of your penis flailing in the breeze, to pop back up when you hear, "Hey, are you dead?" Like most bad decisions, I blame it on my mother. I never meant to get another dog, but then she died, leaving me with an unexpected grief that only you could fill. You with your angling for attention, your stubborn insistence on having your own way. Maybe you are my mother. Come back to haunt me with the unfinished business of loving the daughter she'd had as an afterthought, or so it seemed to me. Who really knows the heart of their mother? People like to say, my rescue dog rescued me, but I'm not having it. The truth is, you like other people better than you like me. The meter reader, the random house guest, you're still looking for your real mother, settling for second best. Still, I wonder who you were before you came to live with me. The wounded one who stands like you've been poleaxed while other dogs play, who bites when I try to put on your collar, or the darling one who twirls for a treat on chubby hind legs. Who taught you to growl at the sounds no one else seems to hear, to scream when someone gets out of the car, to know what it means to lose your whole world with a dreaded phone call, the slamming of a door? I'm going to try some different glasses and see if that helps. It probably won't hurt. This is, honestly, my next poem is called The Piano Lesson, and I swear to God, I didn't report that. How many people in here ever had to take piano lessons? Did you love it? Only one person said, yes, I loved it. Most of us kind of suffered. The piano lesson. The piano lived in the room downstairs where I plodded through my childhood and Thompson's piano guides, running my fingers over the chipped ivory keys like Liberace, which made for a hazardous bliss. Aunt Gladys taught me how to play when I was 6 years old. She had the creamiest skin, despite growing up on a farm. Married late to an affable Irishman who made me my first cocktail, a daiquiri, strong and tangy and sweet, and right away at age 14, I loved that sunny, fuzzy feeling of watching the world go by like a show on TV. Over time, my left hand learned slower than the right, and I grew desperate to avoid the way she counted out loud, 1-y and a 2-y and a 1-y and a 2-y, and her command to concentrate on everything all at once. Head up, back straight, wrists even, hands slightly cupped, as if I could hold a little bird in each one, and I hated those birds. Beneath my palms, shivering with fright, began plotting to get rid of Aunt Gladys. Not permanently, of course, just some elaborate scheme involving an emergency trip to Paris. Anything to keep her away from me. So when I found out she broke her arm in a car accident and wouldn't be teaching me anymore that summer, I was full of a terrible joy. I am not Persephone, nor Demeter, though grief has taken me underground. Isn't every poet allowed to write at least one dead mother poem? Or 100? How many years before they stop coming? Your mother never stops being your mother. If you're lucky, at some point your mother will become a person, in addition to being the myth that is your mother. If you're lucky, at some point your failed garden, failed relationship, failed metaphor will stop being your mother. I never stopped thanking her. I never stopped blaming her. I never stopped marveling at the echoes of my mother grief. I never stopped noticing I am now the age she was when she lost my father, when she moved to the city, when she became a great-grandmother, when she stopped cooking, when she stopped walking, when she stopped. I never stopped atoning for my sins. I never stopped wishing I had been kinder, forgiven more, as I grow older and stand accused of the same things, of not making logical sense, of being obsessed with small details, how long until the milk expires, the names of particular trees, of giving too much, yet somehow giving too little. How much time do I have left?
6 minutes.
All right, that ought to work. If grief were a scar, I would never stop picking at it. It is a wound. It is wound around all of my days. I will not stop noticing her body there, not there, an emptiness filled, not filled. At her funeral, the church ladies told me she was proud of me. At her funeral, my queer lover and I were forced to sit behind my sister, her lawfully wedded husband, her children. Who really knows the heart of their mother? My mother's body is mine. Her shape is mine. Her arthritis is mine. Her devotion is mine. Her mystery, mine. I wore her winter coat a full year after she died. At her funeral, I turned away briefly and the lid clicked shut, that satisfying sound. And the body was finally gone. And the body is never gone. Unloveliness. This starts with a, is it epigraph? Epigram? Thank you. From Sharon Olds, fabulous poet. I love to be a little disgusting, to go as far as I can into the thrilling unloveliness of an elder woman's aging. The roofers are back across the street after a 2-day hiatus for rain, morning air punctuated with scraping sounds, rotten shingles dropping from high overhead, the rope that ties each one to some point of safety swishing across newly denuded boards. One man sits on the ridge of the roof with 2 yellow-handled pitchforks, shoveling slate like he's serving lasagna at a potluck. But inside my house, it is so quiet, I can hear the ticking of 2 clocks, and they are not in sync. The breathing of 1 dog and 2 cats, creaking chair, slight protest of vinyl on skin. A twinge in my elbow, and I'm back to this morning's chat with my love as they sketched out all of the sources of income I can look forward to in case they die young. I think this reassures them. But I'm struck with the thought that it's too late for them to die young, and I am more likely to die first anyway, though I resist any test that would prove otherwise. Try not to resist each proof of my body changing. Skin, old age, crepey, lungs easily taxed. The other day, I got a glimpse of the back of my elbow and did a double take. Is that really my arm? Turkey neck, bulbous nose, the flesh of my upper arm flabby, both fat and sunken at the same time. True, my arms never did have much definition, but it's gone for good now. But they also work just fine. And if I wanna be sleeveless this summer, I'm just gonna have to say, fuck it, I'm old. So, how many people saw the movie back in the day, Harold and Maude? Yeah, one of the leads from that movie just died, Bud Cort. He was 77. It's about a cross-generational love match. He was a teenager and Ruth Gordon, his love interest, was like old, like me now. But anyway, that movie comes up in this poem and it just seemed like the right day to read it. The Ring. Consider my left hand, second finger from the left, the bare one, the one without the wedding ring, which I lost last October after taking it off at the gym. Months later, I still feel bad about it, and I don't know why, since I am plenty married, with or without it. It was a sweet ring, a little plain, though not as plain as my mother's thin gold band, which I hope to hell was not bequeathed to me or I've lost that one too. It was not a traditional ring with the diamond and so forth, but silver and shaped like the Sawtooth Mountains. When we bought our wedding rings, we started wearing them immediately, months before our actual legal wedding. Had to take them off to put them on again during the ceremony. This struck me as absurd. About as absurd as two middle-aged queers being forced to wait 15 years to be married in the first place. At first, I liked theirs better than mine, but we didn't want the same ring, being the two singular people that we are. Yet I came to love mine over time. Its calm face, the silver burnished with wear, a few nicks from when I was careless with my hands, which still feel very bare without it. Last year, a tan line marked where the ring should have been, the groove worn into my finger, skin shiny and soft and a little broken down. This year, you would never know that I'd had one at all. And 40 years after watching Harold and Maude, I finally get why she threw hers into the lake, saying, now I'll always know where it is. Instead of looking at every gum wrapper in the parking lot, still hoping it will turn up again someday. And then the last one is another new one that isn't in the book, but the book is available for sale later on. Actually, two of my books I have copies of, and a broadside to give away for free. So this is called In Charge. I wrote this last fall. The sky is changing fast today. It looked like rain at 7, did rain. Now that seems to be done, and the clouds are fluffy, and it looks like spring again. And I know better than that, but my tombstone should read, Hope Springs Eternal. And I am living an impossible life, though maybe I don't think anymore it's gonna get better. The operative term here is, I don't think anymore. And what good is thinking done me anyway? I don't think I believe that. I love to think. And if I had my way, I would spend more time thinking. Is that true? I'm actively avoiding thinking about the political landscape, a crew of roofers deported for being the wrong shade of brown, and gloom and doom, and I am full of fear, and we are cats trapped in a maze. My only course of action is to pee in something, and I don't mean that either. Our species desires to survive, and the contrarian in me says, what about the suicidal among us? And maybe that is why we are so alarmed by them. We insist, don't go, don't go. See what you lost when you left this world? To which I'm sure the suicide would say, if they could say, so fucking what? Not my world. I didn't ask to be here. And that is also true. None of us did. I mean to keep on living. Adrienne Rich said that, and she must be rolling over in her grave by now at what our country has become. Friends gone back in the closet after 30 years. If there is such a thing as rolling over in one's grave, and of course there is not. I do believe the spirit lingers between the worlds, but I have a very tenuous grasp on science. Today's meditation is on acceptance, which is never an old idea, because I always want everyone else to practice it. Snapdragons, the bunchiness of them, their velvety skin, And I swear the wine dark red ones smell different than the other colors do. Is that even possible? Am I confusing them with petunias? Have I become a person who confuses garden variety flowers? There are worse sins in this life. At least the dog is happy. I can be happy for 5 minutes at a time, and all I have to do now is figure out how to string them together to achieve a full day of happiness. The wind is scary and fantastic today. Huge clouds moving fast as time-lapse photography. One part of me wants to give myself over to the wind and the clouds. Another part is afraid a branch will fall, or even a tree. But I can't do a thing about that, which is reassuring, as my life is full of things I should have done better, or sooner, or more of. Maybe that's why I like the weather. It's not my fault. The simple fact of it, wind, rain, heat, cold, I can't do a thing about it. Pay attention or don't pay attention to it, and it will still do what it does. I am not in charge here anymore. The wine dark sky is changing fast today. I didn't ask to be here. Thank you. And I am grateful to be here. Thank you, Paul, for having me.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. It's really, it's just a privilege to have a live listening audience. You know, anything you write is never guaranteed to have or find any readers. And I'm sure those of us who, you know, have done readings, especially during the pandemic when we were all online, understand that you're being here to sort of actively listen with your presence, with your body is really meaningful and just appreciative. I'm sure all the other readers feel the same way. I also appreciate you letting me, a fiction writer, sort of crash your poetry party. I'm going to read a story from my book called Sin Eaters. It kind of focuses on sexuality and religion through a speculative lens. And I'm kind of reading a story that leans into that speculative element. It's called Ghost on TV. And I maybe a few years ago I was watching, I binge watching a show about hauntings, and I just sort of had this idea of that there might be a ghost with me now watching the show and watching me watch the show, and how that might influence the way that they think about their job or their role. So I thought that was an interesting idea for a story. So here we go. Ghost on TV. In 1937, my father walked into my bedroom, looped a rope around my neck, and pulled. The rope was for the horses, coarse with little fibers that stung my skin. I was 8 years old. Dad was so desperate, using all his strength as if he were being crushed under some giant weight. He just caught Mom with another man, strangled them too, but not before Mom confessed I wasn't really his daughter. After he killed all of us in the house, he shot himself through the chest. Of course, I didn't know that at the time. Had to skim it later from all the police moving through. I don't recall a moment of waking up into this. I was alive, and then suddenly I wasn't, without a clue what to do next. After the police were gone, I laid myself out on the floor in my room, and I think it was years until I got up and left the spot where they found me. Now I'm with Cynthia. She's just lost her husband to another woman, and the loneliness seeping out the doors and windows smelled irresistible. It wasn't Cynthia's house that I died in, but I was just down the street, close enough to move in. Loneliness smells like fresh apples, earthy and cold. It was tasty at first, but it gets old, eating the same thing all the time. Sometimes the loneliness repulses me. Other days I'd peel off someone's skin just to get a drop, but I'm not that desperate anymore. Cynthia produces it like a fog machine, the loneliness melting right off. I follow her wherever she goes in the house, walking down the stairs, dusting shelves in the living room, making sandwiches at the counter. Sometimes she forgets, still makes two. I don't understand why I'm here. I know all about unfinished business, but I got over that a long time ago. Was it something I did? Was I a bad kid? Do I need to fix someone else's life the way my dad thought he was fixing mine? You think that'd be his job, but he's not here. I've seen others wandering around, but never my family. It bothers me that they all died at peace except me. When I finally left my old house, I approached a few others like me, asked what this was about. They gathered around in a circle, smelled me up and down, then they walked on without a word. They're no help. Out here, we're all on our own. Try to avoid each other. We're unpleasant when we're hungry. Cynthia has a cat named Sheba. Sheba and I hate each other. While Cynthia's gone all day, I usually step on Sheba's tail. She'll turn and hiss, but she can't see me. She just feels it. Sheba's all alone, but she's not lonely. Doesn't give off a whiff. The first thing Cynthia does when she comes home is cry. She puts her coat on the rack, looks out the front window, then moves toward the stairs. It's always the stairs, like the space triggers her tear ducts. Maybe it's where she was when he finally left. David. He's very handsome. I know because his pictures still line the halls. After crying, Cynthia will walk by the pictures, touch every one. Then she watches TV. I remember the moment I woke up to Dad strangling me, the lines around his eyes etched clear and deep by the light from the hall. He had black and white stubble, his lips back with his teeth grit, like he hated me. But I was a good girl, listened to every word he said. In those last moments, I thought it was me, that I deserved this somehow. It never occurred to me that he would be the one who was wrong. Stupid. I know that now. I hope that wasn't the reason I'm here. I just wish I knew what to do. There's no manual to this. I am fascinated by the TV. I always watch whenever Cynthia's watching. I never had anything like this growing up. These strange, fluid stories, these actors moving in their preset rhythms from weeks or years or decades ago. Sometimes I imagine they're just like me, stuck and starving. I've been with several families before. It took me ages to figure out how to eat. Once I had enough loneliness, I could start to move things, create smells and feelings, cold air. My dad used to catch animals in the woods, set up traps for rabbits or little squirrels. It's like that, laying things down so you could squeeze out enough lonely to have a satisfying meal. It doesn't take much, just the slightest prompting to make people lonely. You do feel a bit bad encouraging this negativity, which is why most of us don't stick around one place for long. You can be hungry and still feel guilty about it. I'm taking my time with Cynthia. She gives off so much loneliness without any prompting, though I can smell there's more in there, but there's no rush. And in the meantime, I enjoy the TV. Cynthia likes cop shows, especially dark ones. The crimes are gruesome, the bad guys menacing and vile, their victims traumatized or scarred or angry or dead. Sometimes the cops catch the bad guys, sometimes they don't. You'd think this would upset her, but as Cynthia watches, she feels better. Her loneliness dissipates and the air in the room is completely clear. I think about using my energy to change the channel, but it's nice to see her happy sometimes, and she'd probably just change it back. Cynthia always makes small noises or groans or little twitches with her eyebrow or mouth while she's watching TV. I spend half my time watching her rather than the screen. I wish she'd say something. Let me know what she thinks. I wish I could peel back her skull and get a look at what's going on in her brain. You'd think a thing like me might have that power to see through people into who they are, what they know, how they want to be, but we don't. I don't think anyone anywhere has that power. My dad took us to a county fair when I was 5. That was the first and only time I ate ice cream, French vanilla. I had on a blue church dress and a little straw hat. The cone was so large, Dad had to hold it for me while I licked. The ice cream melted and ran everywhere, ruined my dress. Now people eat ice cream all the time. Cynthia has some every damn day. I wish I could taste it. Wonder if it's the same as I remember. Sometimes I try to lick Cynthia's ice cream, but for me it's just dirt. I wonder how much influence a single life could have had on the world. What would have changed if I had lived? Could I have stopped World War II? Would I have invented a miracle vaccine or saved a species from extinction? Maybe the opposite was going to happen. Maybe I would have become a serial killer like my dad. Maybe I'm here paying for all the bad things I never got to do. More likely, though, the world would have been largely the same. I believe that sometimes, but if the world didn't give a shit about me, why am I here? I have to mean something to still be around. While he squeezed the life out of me, my dad didn't say a word. His face barely moved, like it was a mask, but I could be misremembering. You'd think without a physical brain to be faulty, your memories would clear up, but it's not like that. It's more of the same fogginess. One night the cop shows her all reruns. Cynthia flips around until she lands on a show about ghosts. There's this woman in a room, spotlights on her and tears rolling down her cheeks. She's talking about her childhood, the haunted house she grew up in. Then they've got these stiff actors doing everything she says, really hamming it up, screaming and crying and throwing plates. For a moment, I worried Cynthia might get ideas about me, but she just scoops more ice cream. In this show, the ghosts are assholes. I mean, they're really going after these people. I can't say I wouldn't do the same if I was starving, but these people seem plenty miserable, like they should be giving off loads of lonely, or at least the reenactors make it appear that way. Is this what I should be doing? Should I be scaring the shit out of Cynthia on a daily basis? Whisper into her ear at night that she should break a mirror, or skin the cat, or scratch "You Die Now" on the wall? This TV is really something, how it squirms into your brain. I'm absolutely gorged on Cynthia's lonely. I'm so stuffed I have time to worry about her. You'd think a person this lonely would talk to themselves nonstop, but Cynthia hardly says a word to the TV or the cat. Not even when she looks at David's pictures, brushes them with her fingertips and pulls on her hair. I wonder what my dad was thinking. Was he so embarrassed he needed me dead? Did he forget the time he bought me ice cream? Or when he taught me how not to be scared around horses? You can ask yourself a million questions about what happened, and no matter how many times you ask, the answers never appear. Only questions echo back. Apparently there's such a thing as giving off too much lonely. The other day, another one like me came sniffing around. Popped right through the front door while I was on the stairs. He licks his lips, tells me he knows about all the good grub in here and to quit playing with my food. I respond by ripping his fucking head off. No one's haunting this house but me and Sheba. So I decide to try it, harass Cynthia just like the ghost on TV. I'm satisfied, but I wonder if this is part of my purpose here, if going after her will help me move on. It's boring, this slow, floating life. I'm anxious for something else. I spend a few days building up loneliness until I have enough energy for a spectacle. While Cynthia's parked in front of the TV, I make my way upstairs. Sheba's on to me and follows, but I don't mind. I wait a few minutes and then slam the bedroom door. Cynthia runs up the stairs, takes them two at a time, like she's rescuing a person. I wonder if she's forgotten again that David's gone, or maybe she thinks he's come back. When she opens the door to see no one but the cat, the lonely pours from her in clouds so thick I can't see across the room. It's a heavy meal, but I'm curious about what happens if I push it. Cynthia's still, her hand on the knob. Then she turns to go back, leaving the door ajar. I wait until she's down the hallway, her foot hovering over the first step on the stairs before I slam the door again, harder than the first time. She leaps, nearly trips, puts a hand on her chest and watches the door. When I've got her full attention, I turn the knob slow so she can see the movement, open the door with a long squeak. I see it building in her face, raw fear. We're two actors hamming it up, just like TV. I spend so much time thinking about my dad, I've almost forgotten Mom. The memories are unclear, but I know she was pretty, and not just in the way that all little girls think their moms are pretty. She was Miss Teen USA beautiful. She wasn't around as much as other moms. Whenever I picture her, it's always from a distance, Mom high in a saddle. She rode every day, sometimes for hours. She and the horse strutting off and over the horizon. She must have been lonely. Maybe had someone like me tracking her out there. I wonder if she thought about me like a real daughter. Cynthia flees downstairs, but after an hour she comes back and gets ready for bed. As she lays herself down, I'm there beside her, where David would have been. I think I might enjoy this new phase, the real haunted house stuff. I don't recognize myself, how cruel I can be, how much I'm looking forward to driving her crazy. Cynthia's almost asleep when she reaches a hand over, rubs the sheets. It's rare for our bodies to cross, but it's happening now, her hand at my shoulder blade. I know she can't feel me, but her touch is so warm. Cynthia leaves her palm there, her eyes closed, and her whole body so still. Not yet, she says lightly, then turns over to face the wall. I move my fingers through her hair, and for just a moment, I let myself believe this is all about me.